When your pain increases or when you're having a hard day, how do you talk to yourself? Because for a long time, I did not talk to myself very nicely. It was more like, why can't I handle this? I should be doing better by now. What's wrong with me? I feel like I'm a failure. And I didn't even realize how much that was affecting me.
Yeah, and I think that's really common. I mean, a lot of people don't even notice that inner voice at first. In fact, maybe not at all, right? But it's still there, and it can be pretty harsh.
Yes, very harsh. And I actually thought it was helping me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you thought, that's what you thought.
Yeah, I thought being hard on myself was, going to push me forward, make me make more progress. So today we're going to talk about self-compassion. And I think it's one of the most overlooked pieces in pain management. But, it really can be misunderstood.
It can.
When people hear self-compassion, sometimes they think it's being soft on themselves, making excuses, lowering their expectations. Self-compassion is really just treating yourself the way you treat someone you care about. That's really what it's about. So for a long time, I thought that if I pushed myself harder, I was going to get better faster. So I used a lot of pressure on myself, a lot of shoulds.
A lot of shouldas, a lot of couldas, a lot of wouldas.
That's right. Yes. A lot of, come on, you can do more. You can do more to fix yourself. But actually, it was the opposite that happened. The more critical that I became of myself, the more overwhelmed I felt.
Yeah, I remember that. And from the outside, it didn't look motivating. I mean, it kind of looked exhausting.
It was. It didn't make me stronger, did it?
No.
It made everything just feel heavier.
Yeah, it was, again, woulda, coulda, shoulda, and it was a lot of critical thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. I mean, when you're constantly critical of yourself, your brain hears, hey, something's wrong. We're not okay. And boy, that creates stress in the system, in your body, right?
Yes, and when your system's already dealing with a lot of pain, adding more stress to it doesn't help.
Right. I mean, it can actually increase sensitivity. We think that it's going to lower it by kind of focusing on it and being critical about yourself and about your pain, but it actually increases sensitivity because your body's busy interpreting that internal pressure, that criticism, as a threat.
Yeah. So I started learning how to respond differently, and it took me a while. I wasn't doing it perfectly, and I don't do it perfectly now. But I really try to work on, instead of thinking, well, why can't you handle this? I started working on, well, I'm having a hard day. Be kind to yourself. Or instead of thinking, I should be further along now than this, I was thinking, or I try to remind myself, you're doing okay. This all just takes time. You're going to be all right.
I guess you learn to cut yourself some slack, right? To be more self-compassionate. And that shift, I mean, it might sound small, but it really changed the whole tone of the Debbie system. The whole system of your mind, your brain, your body started to shift with that shift from criticism to compassion.
Yeah, it really did make a difference. It doesn't make the pain disappear.
Right. It's not a silver bullet. It's not the magic pill, but it is a really important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of think of it as like softening the experience. I'm thinking a little bit about how the idea that I'm doing this to get rid of the pain, I'm having the self-compassion to thinking that that's going to get rid of the pain is really not the point of it. The point is I have some pain, and instead of fighting it, I'm going to try to roll with it and accept that this is where I am and understand that I need to be patient. I need to be kind to myself.
Yeah, it's not about ignoring reality, right? None of this is about ignoring reality, but it is about responding in a way that's supportive instead of critical.
Right. And, honestly, it doesn't feel natural at first to talk to yourself, to be kind to yourself. It feels awkward, and it definitely feels undeserved at times.
Yeah, that's something we see a lot in our clients. People are used to being hard on themselves. So compassion really feels unfamiliar.
That's right. I have a story about massage therapist.
Oh, yeah. Tell us that one.
Yeah. Well, I was always hard on myself, angry at the pain, angry at my body, just very critical of why isn't my body working the way I wanted it to. And I went to a massage therapist, and she would talk to my body and say things like, "Oh, you're going through so much difficulty right now, but I'm going to, help calm you down. And, I'm so sorry that you've been having to go through so much." And then she would work on the part of the body that wasn't hurting so much. And even with that side, she would say, "Oh my, I recognize that you are holding up an extra amount right now. You are having to compensate a lot because the other side of your body isn't quite as strong. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing." And it was just it was a shift for me.
But it introduced some compassion, the
Yes.
whole idea, right?
Yeah, and the idea that here I was fighting my body instead of having compassion and saying, "Oh, okay, well, you are going through a lot. I'm so sorry." And it's not pity, It's not pity, but
What is it then?
It's kindness and understanding of the reality of this is hard, but I understand what you're going through, instead of, "Oh, you poor thing, how terrible life is, and you just aren't going to make it." That's kind of that pity.
Okay, so then the messages you started sharing with yourself was what? What's an alternative? What's a phrase if pity is, "Oh, you poor little thing, this is really bad and it's never going to get better," right? What was self-compassion?
I think it was really recognizing the reality that this is happening, and I'm sorry that you're going through this, but you're going to get through it.
Ooh, more encouraging
Yeah.
than pitying.
I think a lot of it is the voices that we're talking. It really has to do with what we're saying to ourselves. Pity is, "Oh, poor me, and life's not fair, and, you just really got a bad situation. You just really got a bad lot in life." It really isn't that.
And nobody understands you.
Right. That's the pity part, and we're not talking about that.
So it wasn't pity. It wasn't criticism, right? Pity is the poor you. The criticism is you're really failing at this. It was supportive, encouraging. It was offering yourself some grace, self-compassion, which might feel unfamiliar, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just might mean it's new.
If you're listening and this feels like a big shift for you, just seems too much to try to do, that's okay. That's understandable. Just try to start small. You don't have to change everything. Just first notice your inner voice. And when you catch a critical thought, pause and ask, well, what would I say to someone that I care about right now? And then try saying that to yourself.
Yeah, that's such a simple but powerful place to begin.
And if you've been hard on yourself, especially when it comes to your pain, I want you to hear this. You're doing okay. You are not failing. You're navigating something that's really genuinely difficult.
Yeah, and you deserve support for this, including support for yourself.
That's right. And, like we talked about, self-compassion is not weakness. It's supporting yourself. And support is something your system needs. So be gentle with yourself. You're doing more than you think. If this conversation was helpful for you, we'd love for you to follow and subscribe. And remember, your pain is real, and there is hope. And our goal is to help you have your pain in the rear view.